Welcome to my channel. My name is Helen Noble, celebrant of Surrey, and I am here for all your ceremonial goodness, be it weddings, namings or funerals. But today I will be talking about wedding fairs. You might not know if you love or loathe them. It might just depend on your mood. If you're feeling a little bit overwhelmed, wedding fairs can absolutely freak you out. If your other half is just not interested and the idea of traipsing around a ton of stalls in a venue is what they will do for love, but you're very aware you're dragging them round, then I suggest you make a little bit of a plan. Now, what might that plan look like and why would you make a plan? So, kind of like everything in life, sorry, it was a cat last week and now it's a dog. It's good to know what you want, because if you don't know what you want, then you don't know what you're looking for, and then you can get completely overwhelmed and then you just end up saying yes to everything. But knowing what you want actually doesn't necessarily come very quickly, and it is really hard to find out what you want because you don't know what's out there to know if you want it. So start with what you know. I know I've said that 1,000 times, but start with why you got together, start with where you go on holiday, look at what you do already. Judge your own behaviour, like, oh yeah, we always go out that. Why do we do that? Oh, we love the outdoors. Oh yeah, we do love the outdoors. Do we love a little bit rustic? Oh, we love an outdoor walk and we love ending up in the pub. Oh, okay, so that kind of English pub, country barn, welly boot, rustic kind of vibe may probably be what you want. But if you haven't taken a second to kind of go, what do we already do? Look at what you already do. If you love what you do, then do more of what you do. And that's how you start, by even choosing which wedding fairs to go to. Because if you think, do you know what? We do love an outdoor country pub. Let's start with the barns and the venues that have a pheasantry or 2 barns, so that you've got the ceremony in one room and then the gardens or the fields. Great parking. Parking is really useful. Perhaps overnight stay and anything like that. So then you kind of think, actually, we need accommodation. We do need an outdoor space because we want the flexibility of being able to have an outdoor ceremony if it's fine weather. And we do want that rustic country feel. So then you start looking at the wedding fairs and looking at which venues, just the calendar, see what venues are hosting, have a click on those venues, see if those venues do match what you think you want, and make them your priority. I would say, a bit like house shopping, or I don't know, what's that programme about living in the sun where you relocate? They always give you a wild card. Give yourself a wild card. Give yourself like maybe a real city vibe kind of place, or a luxury hotel spa, or a big country estate, because you might suddenly go, oh, that's a treat. And yes, you love the English country pub, you love that rustic feel, you want to have a barn, that's all good. But actually, if that's what you do all the time, then maybe you want to upscale and just push your boundaries a little bit more and go, do you know what? We're not going to do the boots or the wellies. I don't want to have to tussle with mud. I want to wear nice, pretty shoes all day. I'm going to go for a luxury country house. Fantastic. So have yourself a wild card, but primarily do more of what you love. Then, so that's strategy number 1, pick which wedding fairs to go to. Strategy number 2 is which stall to go first. It's a bit like shopping when you're hungry. You get sidetracked and you start just going, ooh, 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 ooh. Or you go, oh, I'm not hungry anymore, I'm just going to get a takeaway. And then you leave. So sort of start with a shopping list and go, right, I do want to look at stationery. I do want to look at the celebrant. I do want to look around what the venue offers. And I do want to look around their licensing restrictions, because we would love to party till midnight. And if they are a venue that everything shuts at 11, including the car park, i.e. everyone's gone by 10:30, then maybe that's not the venue for you. So if you're thinking, no, I want a 12-hour day, this is going to be a 12 till 12 wedding, then do check their licensing. You don't need to go to the wedding fair for that. You can just email them and say, what time's kick out for everyone, please? But it might be that that's what is the make or break thing for your venue choice. So once at the wedding fair, with your shopping list, go, right, I want to look at these suppliers. You're looking at them with a view to doing more of what you want. So if you love good hearty meals, you don't need to spend too much time on the canapes, because you're kind of like, yeah, they're just an in-betweeny thing to get us through to breakfast so that no one's drunk by the time you sit down to eat. Or if actually you love the hobnobbling, you love the in-betweeny bit, and you just want people to circulate, then the canapes are really important, because that is the time where everyone gels. So when they come to the table, they're like, oh, I've had a really good chat with her already. Oh, that's great. I feel like I know the people on my table. Because you might have the table plan out and visuals so people can kind of clock, especially if they've got a bit of social anxiety. A lot of people will look at the seating plan ahead, so that in the canapé window, they're kind of sussing out their table and going, oh, okay, I'm with her. Okay, cool. And introduce yourself, because you're going to be on their table for 2 hours. So again, it's looking at more of what you like to do anyway and do more of it. But it's also thinking about your guests. If they've got social anxiety, if you've got quite a cliquey bunch, and actually no one really knows anyone because you've got a very compartmentalised life. Some people do. Some people, like, everyone knows everyone and it all comes home and it's all good. But quite often people have compartments in their life, and at the wedding they're suddenly like all put together. So it might be that the canapes are important, and therefore that's the conversation you have with your caterer, and therefore that's a time chunk of your wedding fair visit, conversations with a caterer, for example. Then once you know you've got the answers that you needed, you can relax, and then you can go window shopping, and then you can find all the other stuff and be like, oh, that's a nice idea. Oh, I like that. Oh yes, we'll have a think about that. So I guess strategy number one, what do you do that you love, and can that be found in a venue? So you love luxury, you want to go to somewhere that has an overnight spa, you want to be able to hang out the next day or the night before with your bridesmaids or your groomsmen or whatever. If that's the case, then that's the kind of venue you look for. If you're, like I said, country, rustic, you come with horses and dogs, then you're looking for a venue that can have animals on site, or you're looking maybe for a supplier that dog sits or has children. Not that I'm putting children with dogs. I am. Children and animals, they both need your attention most of the time. So at a wedding, work out what the venue policy is. And then if they have any recommended suppliers of childcare, there's a great company called Safe and Sound. She's been doing it for, I think, probably 20 years now. She's brilliant. And she will look after your children. And if you've got private nannies, they'll come with. So definitely start looking at that too. But when you are at a wedding fair, check if the venue that's hosting has its own policy. Then structure two, have your shopping list, go and tick it off of the things that you need and you want, and then you can release yourself to free time and just go look at all the pretty things, and you can enhance your wedding celebration some more. Then thirdly, give yourself a wild card. Go outside your comfort box slightly, maybe upgrade yourself and go, oh, do you know what, when will we ever? My best friend and I, when we were early 20s, I guess, would be like, when are we ever going to have no responsibility? Let's just go do this. And we'd like upgraded our life for like a decade. It was amazing. But maybe you're in that stage. You think, when will we ever? Let's just go for it. Because the rest of the 50 years are going to be careful. So you might want to go for it. And then there was a fourth thing, which was, the other wedding fairs that you might want to go to are the ones that aren't hosted by a venue that does weddings. So, for example, if you're down in Surrey, there's the wedding fair at Farnborough, where the Farnborough Air Show is. There's wedding fairs. There's wedding fairs at the Hilton and Angel, at Olympia in London. There are venues that host massive, like the NEC in Birmingham, massive wedding fairs where the venues come. I talked about that on Instagram this week. But that's also very useful. They're the ones I tend to go to because it's useful for me to see the other venues out there and chat. But that's, you know, my venue manager in me. I like to go and see what the venues are up to, how they're being run these days, what the vibe is, what trends they're seeing. I go as a supplier, getting outside my bubble, you know, making sure that I'm trailblazing, I'm front of the game. I'm not like lagging 5 years behind everybody else. I'm like, no, I'm on it. I've seen it. I know what's occurring. Let's keep it modern. Let's keep it slick. But most of all, let's keep it tailor-made to the couple. And wedding fairs will help you tailor-make your ceremony as well as your whole wedding. So, like I say, in everything that you start with wedding planning, you can even download it from my website, have a good talk and chat and inward looking of what you like to do and whether you want to do more of that. And then that's your springboard to look at everything else. You start looking at everything else, realise what you need, what you don't need, get that sorted, and then you can look at the pretty. And after you've done all that, you give yourself a wild card and go, we've got all that, we pretty much know what we want. Let's just check the grass isn't greener on the other side. Look at it and go, no, pretty solid, I know where I'm at. Or you go, oh, side swipe, let's try there. And then you open yourself up to loads more adventure. Or you go, nah, let's not. So who you are, what you're about, do more of it, and use the wedding fairs as a springboard for inspiration and contact and connection, as well as stopping yourself getting overwhelmed because you've gone with a little bit of a hit list. All right, take care. Hope that's helpful. Join me on Instagram at Celebrant of Surrey, on Pinterest at Celebrant of Surrey. My website's Helen Noble, and I'm on here. I'll see you next week. Take care.